Have you ever noticed how quickly people label their ex as a narcissist or sociopath these days? What drives us to simplify someone we once loved into a neat clinical term? Beneath this habit lies a darker need to make sense of pain in a world that rarely provides clear answers. This is what happens when heartbreak meets the hunger for certainty. People often assume this is just harmless venting. But this rush to pathologize an ex reveals a psychological defense most never examine. It reflects our deep desire for a tidy explanation after we feel shattered. At its core, this pattern is rooted in a simple psychological mechanism. Attribution theory says humans feel safer when we can assign a cause to painful events. Turning someone into a narcissist or manipulator is an easy way to feel like we understand what happened. It stops the questions that keep us up at night. It allows us to say, this was never about me, this was always about them. This habit is learned from the culture around us too. Platforms like TikTok make these labels feel like shorthand for pain. A quick scroll reveals a flood of simplified psychology telling you your heartbreak is part of a pattern, that your ex fits the mold. And that feels like relief, even if it's shallow. You scroll your feed, and there it is. Another video listing the classic signs of a narcissist. Every bullet matches a painful memory. Every overlap feels like proof that you weren't wrong to feel this way. Giving someone that label feels like you've taken your power back. It stops the self-doubt. It also stops you from seeing the situation in its full complexity. Once they are the narcissist, they can never be anything more. And once you are their victim, your role is fixed too. That dark comfort keeps you trapped. There's also the way social media rewards this cycle. Content that paints exes as villains travels faster. TikTok thrives on catchy summaries and bold claims. Post a video diagnosing an ex, and you will find strangers jumping in with their own stories, their own labels. It feels validating. It feels like joining a crowd that agrees you were right all along. But that crowd rarely encourages deeper reflection. It never asks whether you overlooked red flags or ignored your own patterns. Every angry comment and every heart emoji reinforces the simple story you have told yourself. And crowds rarely help you grow. This cycle also blocks self-reflection. Treating your ex as a psychological case study keeps you from looking at what was going on inside you. It feels good to say they were the one with the disorder. They were the one who manipulated or gaslit. But if all you see is their flaws, you never ask what drew you to them in the first place. What made you overlook things that were obvious? What kept you going back when you could have left? Growth happens when we dare to sit with those questions. When we dare to look at ourselves in the same honest light. A label cannot do that work for you. That is why these labels can become part of your identity too. Once you decide you survived a narcissist, that story can shape your sense of self long after they are gone. Every new person you meet is measured against the past. Every behavior is scanned for signs of old wounds. That identity can feel protective, like armor you earned. But it can also act like a wall you cannot see past. You end up carrying a narrow view of people, expecting harm long before you know who they really are. It is a dark irony that the story meant to help you heal can sometimes leave you less free. That is where the shift begins. Reclaiming your power means seeing the messy parts of your story without a quick label to tidy them up. It means holding the discomfort of what cannot be explained easily. You can feel the pain someone caused you and still see that person as a human being with flaws of their own. You can acknowledge your own role without blaming yourself. When you do this, you take back control of your own narrative. Stop seeing every ex as a monster and start seeing your past as a source of growth rather than fear. In the end, the urge to label someone often masks a deeper wish. It is the wish to understand why someone you cared for could also cause you harm. Real healing lives in that ambiguity. That is where you grow into someone who can face the world with honesty and hope. Protect your energy. Stay curious. Subscribe for more from Beneath the Cortex.